Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and today we are going to spill some tea. Yesterday, Jessie Woo and Storytime with Rikkii. If you don't know Storytime with Rikkii, she is like the Love is Blind lady. Her TikToks are absolutely amazing. She does all the insider work. She talks to family, talks to friends. Jessie Woo as well. Jessie Woo has done interviews with previous castmates. I'm sure y'all know Jessie Woo here on YouTube. But if you don't use TikTok, you may not know who Storytime with Rikkii is. She is really the Love is Blind tea lady. Um, they did an interview yesterday with the ex-wife of Tyler's children's mother, Bry. So her ex-wife's name is Deshawn, and she came on for around 30 minutes or so and talked, and we are going to watch through it. I'm going to pause and react when I have something to pause and react to. Uh, I feel like there is so many layers to this story. And before I begin, the reason why I'm doing this one is because I feel that I gave Bry a platform on my platform. Obviously, that video got 40,000 views, which is a lot for YouTube, right? And I do want to give the respect to the ex-wife as well, that on my platform, I also post her side. A lot of you guys seem to swear I'm biased and I don't like this person and I don't like that person, when in reality, I don't know any of these people in real life. You know, I'm only covering content because that's what I am, a commentary channel. And number two, I feel like this story is crazy. It is crazy, 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 crazy. So I don't want to ramble on too long. I just want to get into it. And thank you so much to those of you guys who have supported the channel. So let's bring up actually YouTube. By the way, the live stream was around 2 hours. So if you want to go watch the full thing, you can. I've done some previous tea videos on some of the other stuff they talked about. So that's why I'm not, well, also, it's not my live stream, so I don't want to play the entire thing. But I am just going to play around the 30 minutes of the interview. And then, like I said, I will pause and respond when I have something to say. So let's jump into this. I'm going to bring off my screen now. Let me see. Okay, awesome. So I already have it up here. And we are just going to press play and begin. And like I said, I will pause when I have something to say. I will play when I don't have anything to say. So let's get into it.
Where are you joining us from? Are you in DC too?
In California.
You're in California. Okay, you're in California. And you were in DC for how long?
We lived in Maryland about 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years. And I guess just while I'm waiting for her to come back, can you just give us, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for being here and joining us.
Yeah, so he was cheating on her pretty much every weekend. If she didn't know that Bry's baby was his baby.
Okay, continue.
Where did I even leave off? Yeah, so he was cheating on her pretty much every weekend, if not just the Friday and Saturday. And us being the friend group, you know, we're the two girls in the group, but this is a group of guys. So he's coming back and telling us all his stories and sexcapades and all these things. I told Rikkii recently about these threesomes they used to have all the time. It was just a lot. I don't know how much detail I can go into, but it's been a minute.
Whatever you feel comfortable with sharing.
Yeah. Well, I'm an open book, so, and that's the only reason why I came forward. I just feel like the whole truth isn't coming out, especially with my part in the story. But
okay.
Yeah, we had a friend in the guy friend group who liked to watch his wife have sex with other men. So, he would invite his friends over, and they would play little striptease games, and then they would all have sex with her. When him and his wife broke up, he got another girlfriend who was okay with that, and they were doing the same thing with her. It got to the point, and I wanted to make a call before this to see if this is public record or not, but it was even investigated in the Army because the first wife got upset when he got the new girlfriend and reported that it was rape instead of her being consensual. So they had to do a whole investigation and all these things. So people know that these threesomes were happening.
Pause. Excuse me. Pause. Okay. So if you are not caught up, I fast forwarded a little bit and I might just fast forward a little tiny bit through certain parts. But basically, she talks about Deshawn here, or Deshawn, sorry. She talks about how Tyler, she, and Bry, they all met in the army. They were part of Bry and Deshawn. They were part of this friend group full of guys, and in that group, there would be a guy. There was a guy in there who liked to watch his wife and his girlfriend if other people. So Tyler was a part of these threesomes, and it was investigated by the army. But let's keep going.
And they
Oh
were
my
with
gosh. This was happening while he was in the military.
No, when I met him, he was not in the military.
Okay. Okay.
But this is all happening while he's engaged.
Oh.
So he was allegedly having threesomes when he was engaged.
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, if you guys need the background, so I was wrong. Well, they all met in the military, but apparently these threesomes were happening after he was discharged. But if you do need some background, Tyler was previously engaged to a Fox 5 news anchor, local news anchor here in the DC area. They were engaged. Bri was obviously married to Deshawn, and this was all happening. These threesomes were happening as Tyler was engaged. So just remember that part. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah. With our friend's wife and girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did not think that my wife was participating in these. We would sit and have conversations about how crazy their life was and all the things that they would do. I did not know that she was a part of it. But everybody keeps wondering how I knew something was up with Tyler and her. But as women, we know how you act when you like somebody. It's the way you look at them, and you might laugh a little harder at their jokes. You might touch them a little bit more. All those things are happening, and I'm watching their interactions, and I have questions. So even at I think it was her 30th birthday party I threw at my house, our house.
Excuse me. And if you watch my previous videos where I put Bry's story down, one thing that was left intentionally murky is kind of, did she and Tyler, like, how was the first child conceived? Like, did this happen through natural methods? Did this happen another way? So just saying, for her to be saying, I know how people act when they like each other, very, very true. And even Bri in her story says that she has been ashamed to admit that she had any kind of intimate relations with Tyler because she lived her life as a lesbian, etc., etc. So
I pulled them to the side. I had some liquid courage, and I'm like, "What's going on with y'all? Like, y'all just be honest right now. Like, I won't be mad. But I need to know what's happening." Yeah. And they denied it. Me and Bri had conversations about it at home. I just revealed that our relationship was abusive, and when I would bring that up, it would become abusive. So it got to the point where I just didn't ask anymore because she was saying how disrespectful I was to accuse her with messing with a guy when she is a lesbian.
And I've seen that you commented that her statement that she released yesterday was the first time you've ever heard her admit that the twins at least were conceived naturally, correct?
Yes. So I knew that, and I don't know how many gays are on here, but in the lesbian community, you're a gold star lesbian if you've never had sex with a man. I knew that she was not a gold star. I knew that she had a boyfriend in high school.
How many stars is she?
She's none, clearly.
Oh, okay.
You're either a gold star or you're nothing. But in high school she had a boyfriend, but she was saying that she did that for her mom's sake. Her mom never wanted her to be gay. But she was intimate with him. When I first met her and our relationship got serious, she told me that the only way she would have sex with a man is to conceive a child.
I pause. Not here to psychoanalyze anybody. I don't know her IRL, but it definitely seems like there is something related to her sexuality and how she identifies, Bri, and it just seems like she so desperately wants to identify as a certain sexuality. And again, I'm not saying that that's wrong or right, but I feel like she herself has even come forward talking about how she doesn't want to fully admit, or she's ashamed to admit, how the twins were conceived. And from this, we'll see it's also murky how the first son was conceived. Um, and now for her to admit that Bri, has dated men in the past, it just really seems very. It definitely seems like there's something there with Bri where she is kind of troubled with that whole thing. I want to say this in a certain way because I don't want it to come off like I'm saying something I'm not. But it just seems very strange. And she herself even admitted that she's always identified as a lesbian. She doesn't want to admit that she had the sexual relations with men. But in reality, it's like clearly you had relations with Tyler. And that's okay. Like, I feel like the interesting thing about it is like that's okay. But anyway, let's keep going. Well, it's not okay that she did it. Okay. Let me say it differently. It's okay if she is, let's say, bisexual and she does like men as well, or she's pansexual or anything like that. It's not okay that she had these relations when she had a wife. I want to be very, very clear. That is not okay whatsoever.
Told her that we did not have to do that. We could turkey baste her. We could go to a bank. There's other options, and she was adamant that this was something she was comfortable with. But that's years later. We ended up having Tyler. Fast forward, she was told. Oh, in that conversation, she also mentioned she wanted to have 2 kids by the time she turned 30. So when it comes time for her to get pregnant, she comes to me. She says 2 of my friends have volunteered to be our donor. Tyler was one of them. I told her I did not want a known donor. I wasn't comfortable with that. But again, it's an abusive relationship. I go along with whatever she says. It's her first child, like biological child too. So I just wanted her to have her experience how she wanted to have it. We tried.
So you wanted to go to because that's the whole thing too. It's like why? Because he made it seem that you guys couldn't afford a donor. Is that?
And I'm pretty sure he said that on the show. That's very interesting for her to admit that she did not want a known donor. And because Bri seemingly wore the pants in this really allegedly, I'm just posting both sides, but because Bri allegedly wore the pants in this relationship, they ended up going with Tyler. That is crazy because again, Bri, one thing to say about Bri's story is that she definitely intentionally left murky the conception of the first son. And again, she did not have to come online and really clear up any of this. I don't know that her clearing it up made her look better. There's a lot of holes in her story. You guys pointed out in my comments that there's a lot of holes in her story. And I even think there's a lot of holes in her story. But wow. And it is crazy because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure Tyler said on the show, I helped a good friend because they couldn't afford a donor. And so God led me to do something nice for someone else. And that's why I did this. Remember, Tyler said that on the show.
True.
No, that's not the case.
Okay, so you wanted to actually go the strict route with this, go to a donor hospital and do all that. But she said no, she wanted to do it with.
Yes, she chose Tyler of the 2.
Did she actually do it the turkey baster way?
Yes.
Or did they start having sex?
So that's where it gets messy. The first 2 times, Tyler came to our house and he went in our bathroom downstairs. We had a half bathroom, and we gave him the cup. We had a whole contraption. Gave him the cup. He went in the bathroom, did whatever he did. He gave it to us. He would leave, and then we would go upstairs and finish the process. We did that 2 months in a row. Didn't work. I go out of town.
Hey!
He picks me up from the airport, and she goes in the bathroom. As soon as I come in the house, she goes to the bathroom. She comes out, pregnancy test, and she goes, "I'm pregnant." And I just broke down in tears because I already knew she cheated on me. I just knew. And again, abusive relationship. She cussed me out, went off. How dare you be upset that I am pregnant? You should be happy for me. This is our child, whatever. We go to urgent care. to confirm the pregnancy because I've had a child before. I know at home test. Let's go to the go see. She measures at 6 weeks pregnant. I wasn't out of town for 6 weeks.
Hey!
Pause. 6 weeks pregnant. 6 weeks pregnant. And it's very convenient that they tried it twice, turkey baster method, when she was here. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, guys, about my throat. She tried it twice. They tried it twice, turkey baster method, when she was in town. And then as soon as she goes out of town, coincidentally, and it could be a pure coincidence, she is pregnant. And not only is she pregnant, but she's testing 6 weeks. 6 weeks pregnant? There is no possible way in a 2 week span, if you did the insemination and it was successful, that you would be measuring 6 weeks. When you find out you're pregnant, like 14 days past ovulation, let's say you're technically, I think, 3 weeks pregnant at that time. So at maximum, if she had done it 2 weeks prior, she'd be measuring at maybe the most 4 to 5 weeks, 4 weeks probably. Mathematically, it does not make sense. It's not adding up.
How long were you out of town?
2 weeks at most. 10 days.
Hey!
And I bought the contraptions. I think it's called like a stork or something. It's an at-home conception thing. I don't remember having a third one. And she was like, "No, we had an extra one. I found it under the sink. He gave it to me. We did it." Yeah.
So, wait, so if you were only out of town for 2 weeks, is it possible that one of the turkey baster method sessions worked?
No,
It's not.
only because so we would do it and we were tracking, the fertility. You're fertile, I think it's 2 weeks before your period. So we would check. She didn't get pregnant. Then we did it again. She didn't get pregnant. So I know for a fact 2 times.
Every time you guys done the baster method, you guys had taken a pregnancy test that came back negative.
Absolutely.
Okay. That makes sense.
She's
And
pregnant.
just to be, I know I'm shocked, we're shocked and everything, but just to be clear, because you keep mentioning abuse, and I want to be sensitive to that. I don't want to just overlook that. But was the abuse emotional, or was it physical, or was it financial?
Physical. She has I'm trying not to make this about her because I know Tyler's a story and that's what people care about. But she has a history of abuse. I'm not the first one, So yeah, it was physical abuse. The reason that I went out of town is and again, I don't want to make it about her, but she tried to kill me. Literally tried to kill me.
I'm gonna TikTok because they will ban my ass.
I'm sorry.
Pause. No. What? Okay. Let's dissect. Let's dissect for 2 seconds, y'all. Let's dissect. So she said it was an abusive relationship. She said that throughout this video. Then she said she's not the first one. And then she said she tried to off her. And again, this is all alleged because I'm just posting both sides on my channel. This is all alleged. But what? I'm sorry, what? And again, just going off of what we have, a lot of y'all pointed it out, and I read your takes. And honestly, some of y'all's takes in my comments regarding Bry's side of it, you guys changed my outlook a little bit. Some of y'all's comments, because y'all really did point out how there are holes in the story. There are things that are intentionally murky. There are things that she's not really mentioning, even surrounding the ex-wife's leaving and Tyler's entrance. It was very vague. Oh my God. And I also just want to take a pause to say I am so sorry to Deshawn because that is horrible, horrible, horrible. That is no joke. An abusive relationship is no joke. Oh my God. Wow, I feel for her. I feel for her. This is insane. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I am
Yeah.
so sorry. Like, yeah,
I said I wasn't gonna cry on here.
yeah, no,
So
I am so, we're both very, very sorry, and we're not gonna focus on that because
yeah.
that is very, very personal. And thank you for trusting us with that information. I think it takes a lot for you to come.
And he would say little things. He would come over. He was supposed to be an uncle. He was not supposed to be involved. Yes. And I'm thinking, okay, we have a known donor, but we're in the military. So we're going to move. We're not going to be around him. We're fine. But he comes over and he says, I don't know how the conversation came up, but I said, well, what if he turns out gay? And Tyler said he's going to come up to you guys and ask you guys, why is Uncle Ty keep punching me in my chest? And I said, you're not going to touch my child. It's not your child at all. So you don't get to do anything. But so I'm seeing her get it.
Tyler said this?
Tyler said that in my house, in the living room, on the floor. Yeah. So as I'm watching her get more attached, I'm watching him get more attached. He's starting, I can tell by the way he's talking about our child that he is seeing it as his child. But we still are moving on as a couple. We have go through the pregnancy together. She says that I left before Kyra was born. That's not true. I went on a trip to California because I was a stay-at-home mom. I'd already got out of the military at that point. I went on a trip to have like a baby moon before I was going to be home with another child. And when I got back, it just so happened when she picked me up from the airport, she went into labor. It wasn't planned like that though. And she says that Tyler stepped up because I left, but
That's not true.
It's not. There's pictures of him holding my newborn in Louisiana at her mother's house. That's where she did her maternity leave. And
wow. And I feel like we need to hone in on that because remember, and I have the screen grabs of Bri, so you can go check out that video on my page. But Bri did say, yeah, Tyler stepped off because my ex-wife left me. And remember, that's one of the parts that y'all really honed in on in the comments that was very vague. Because Bri did simply just say, my ex-wife left me. She moved back to her home state of California. Didn't give any further details about what happened. Didn't explain why the ex-wife, Deshawn, and now we can call her Deshawn, didn't explain why Deshawn left her. Just said, my ex-wife Deshawn left me. Went back to her home state of California. And that's when Tyler texted her randomly and said, hey, I don't want my kids to be raised by a single mother like me. So can I step up and be a father? That's the story Bride told. But obviously and clearly, Deshawn was still in the picture when this all happened. Deshawn was still very much in the picture. And basically, Tyler was also in there. And she said it a couple of minutes ago that Tyler was looking at this child as if it was going to be his child. That's heart-wrenching. That's very heart-wrenching. And I think it's sad because Deshawn clearly did not want a known donor for this reason. Because the waters are so murky.
We weren't done yet. We were still figuring out what we were doing at that point.
I think you said that as this drama was unfolding, like you were realizing some truths yourself. You were realizing like, oh, Tyler's been present in my son's life, and you're just now realizing now that all of this is coming out, right?
Yeah. I'm learning a lot, so it's super traumatizing because I've been in therapy after our relationship and things like that, and then I'm scrolling one day and I see my arch nemesis Tyler pop up on the screen because I didn't even watch Love Is Blind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm learning a lot.
So when she says that Tyler stepped up because you left, you're saying you left because you were doing your baby moon, right?
No, she said Tyler stepped up when I left for good.
Okay,
but Tyler was already involved. So I'm saying she pushed me out so that he could step up.
Was he already living in the home?
No, I just got that out.
She just found out with all of us that they ever actually lived together.
because there's pictures of me with the twins. I went to their house. Well, yeah, now I'm learning it's their house. But when I was there, she told me that his sister had been living with her, helping with the kids, not him. She never said that.
Wait, Paul. Y'all gonna hate me for all the pausing. I already do it. His sister, he lied and said his sister was living with her, or she lied and said that? How does that even make sense? Why would Tyler's sister be living with Bride? I what? This is diabolical. This is diabolical. Wow.
So why do you think now we have Tyler on this show denying being an active father? If he was doing so much with her, scheming to take you out of the picture, why do you think he's doing that?
To me, it's just karma. Like, you chose that person and now they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But I will say that when we were in communication, she was complaining about him. The child support thing has been an issue from the beginning. When we were friends, he showed us his tax returns. He was making over 6 figures. And when the babies came, she would call me upset. I asked Tyler for money for formula and he won't even give it to me. He said all he has is $50. That's not gonna do it. So this has been an issue from the very beginning. I don't know how active he's been over the years. Yes, there are pictures, but she's also called me and said, Tyler is an Instagram dad. He only comes around when there's a photo op. So yes, there are photos, but I don't know what her standard of an active parent is.
Well, in her story, she said that, I know you mentioned to me, like, she said that you petitioned for custody of Cairo first, but you told me that she actually petitioned for Cairo a day before you petitioned, and that's where this whole custody battle came into play, correct? And then, to be clear, as far as the twins are concerned, you guys were already divorced. You have no connection to the twins. They were never your children.
She conceived the twins while we were going through the divorce.
Right. So you have no parental rights over the twins. That was just a pure Tyler and her parents.
Yeah, that was a Tyler and her situation. Technically, I could have, in Maryland, if kids are born to in marriage, they're of that marriage. So technically.
And I live in Maryland. That's true. That is true. That is true. I live in Maryland. Anyway, they were still legally married. Let's recap. They were still legally married when the twins were conceived. And in Maryland, I think up until a few years ago, the divorce process was very long. But now they made it shorter a couple of years ago. But also there was a child involved, so I'm assuming their case was a lot harder. Those twins are technically and legally her children as well. Even though she and Tyler were doing whatever. Oh God, guys. Okay.
Those are my kids too. But no, I have nothing to do with the twins. Those are their babies.
So have you been in contact at all with Bride, like, since you left? Were you aware that Tyler had gone on the show?
No, I have not been in contact with her except for small communication here and there for years. So the only information that I can give is just the backstory on how their friendship became whatever it is now.
I guess I'm just still like, why go through all that and push the wife, like your wife out? You know what I mean? And like, or your best friend's wife out. Like, they both push you out of the equation just to end up going on television and denying all of this, like denying these kids. I guess I'm just trying to figure. And then if he a national security officer, what was Tyler's job?
He was a security guard at a nuclear plant. What my understanding of it was.
Hey, which one of y'all clocked it? Because y'all clocked it in my comments. I think I said it too. That man sounds like he is a security guard, and there is nothing wrong with him being a security guard. But I just find it funny because national security officer. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So this man indeed was a security guard. Let's keep going.
Hey!
But when we he said he just worked a lot of overtime. So that's why he was like so proud he made six figures that year because they had so much overtime. So hearing him owe people money is surprising to me because I've never known him to be broke.
Wait, so he was a security guard who was working a lot of overtime, basically.
Yeah, not a nuclear plant, whatever his title was, like nuclear plant. Like,
Hey! Then because on the show, he comes in as a nuclear security officer, not a security guard, nuclear security officer. And then, like, when the PR for the show comes out, he's an account manager, and now he's selling drywalls.
Yeah, like I said, when I was around, he had his own place. He was engaged, but they did not live together. So he was sustaining his lifestyle. I have no idea what happened. But it could be
for everybody. He was Peter swindling. He's the Love is Blind swindler. He was robbing Peter to pay Paul, is what it seems like. Like,
also, the tax returns, because she said a couple of seconds ago, I fast forwarded a little too much. Heads up, guys, I kind of watched through this yesterday, but a little bit, some of it yesterday. But anyway, she said a couple of minutes ago that he had presented tax returns showing that he made six figures from this security officer job or security guard job. So she's confused because he showed those tax returns. He was so proud of it. One thing I want to say, and I brought this up before, Love is Blind, Married at First Sight DC. There was a guy on that show, Michael, and that man made fake offer letters to present to his partner. So I'm just saying, you can find like tax return forms online and fill out fake tax returns, put fake numbers in there. But okay, even outside of that, if you make, quote, six figures, and I would like to know what the six figures are, because $100,000 working overtime in reality could be like a base pay of 80,000, which I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. I'm not saying like, oh, if you make that, you don't make money. But at the end of the day, in DC, in the DMV area, he lives in Arlington. We know that based off his head. I'm from this area. Arlington is expensive, y'all. $80,000 in Arlington does not go far. So I could understand this man not having money. Like, especially if he was not getting that same level of overtime all the time. Also, we see this man has had multiple different jobs. So I'm assuming the security guard job, he only worked it for a little while and then went on to another job. So to me, it makes sense that he ain't have money because, like I said, let's say you make $100,000, you just touched the tip of six figures working overtime. 70, 80K in Arlington by yourself? That's not going far. Trust me, I live in this. Trust me.
Because you have several women coming forward and asking about money, and then also you said that Bri would tell you like that she would ask him for formula and he wouldn't pay it. Which now I'm thinking, okay, because we don't know. Well, I don't know whether he gets married to the woman that he's engaged with on the show, but I'm just hoping if she sees all of this,
did you see the comment that I sent you that Ashley was responding in comments about her castmate?
Yes.
So it from that was just left like maybe a day ago. So just based on that comment alone, people had their opinions about it. Like, she's defending him. She's defending him.
And I do want to touch on that because the comment, I can't find the original comment. Unfortunately, actually, Storytime with Rikkii, she has a TikTok about it if you guys want to go to her page. But It definitely sounded like Ashley was defending this man. She talked a lot about unsubstantiated evidence, like unverified evidence, and how you guys are just going off of that. You don't know the real story. You guys are making all these accusations about my castmate without knowing everything. And look, this is all alleged. I'm not trying to drag Ashley because we genuinely don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But based off of the comment she left, because remember, Ashley didn't have to leave a comment, y'all. Ashley could have stayed silent. She could have stayed quiet. She did not have to leave a comment. But the fact that she did choose to leave this comment, it's giving my man, my man, my man. I'm going to stick by my man no matter what. And then, of course, there's even further speculation. What if Ashley is the reason that he's not talking to these kids? What if her stipulation is, no, you cannot be an active father to these kids. You cannot be talking to these kids like that. And I don't want to put anything on Ashley. This is all alleged. We do not know. We do not know. We do not know what Ashley's involvement in all of this is. But it's not looking so hot when you're leaving those comments on people's stuff and everybody's kind of looking at you like, girl, do you know? Are you involved in this? And it looks even worse when we all were empathizing with you, as an audience. Everybody's empathizing with you and you're clapping back at people in the comments. I don't know. Hey.
Find it hard because, like, there's a trend here. You have women who have taken them to court for money.
If she doesn't want me to see the kids, then she doesn't have to, and they can kick her out of the army if that's what they want to do. She made sure that there was no possible way. I even asked my lawyer, if I go to the daycare and pick him up, will I get in trouble? Because I am legally his parent. But
right.
Yeah.
So how has that left you feeling, the fact that, I mean, this is a child that was born into your marriage, and you have had to just basically move on with your life as if this isn't your son?
It's hard. It's definitely hard because he was going back and forth between California. My whole family knows him. I have family members I haven't seen in a long time. And they're like, wait, don't you have 2 kids? So this whole reliving all of this has been hard. I've definitely had some tears and things like that. Because the only way that I could cope was just to ignore the situation. So now seeing that he his life and things like that, it's hard. It's definitely hard. I mean, I have this chain right now. It has his name on it. I've never forget him, and I'm gonna cry. But yeah.
No.
So
Oh my God.
it's hard.
Sorry. I don't think, like, us as the viewers even just are beginning to understand, like, what this, like, how deeply rooted this is. Because, like, even just before you said that, I didn't make that connection. I don't know if you did, Rikkii. I didn't make that connection until just, like, talking to you just now. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is her son too.
Yeah.
Her son.
Yeah, she's on his birth certificate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I know that Bry's side has like a different perspective of why the marriage broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they believe what they believe, but she comes from a toxic family. She learned those habits from somewhere. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make this me and her story or whatever. But like when I told you what she did to me why I went out of town, she called her mom upset. My wife won't come home. She says she's scared of me. Her mom laughed. Like, she's scared of you. What? Like, that's stupid. So they've never, and I told you her mom never wanted her to be gay. So they've never supported our union. They're going to do anything to make her look good. And her coming forward with her truth and it being that I randomly left and Tyler came in to save the day because I abandoned my family. I honestly think she believes that. That's the story that she
kept it vague on purpose because she was trying not to make the story about herself.
Yeah.
What I got from it, like she's keeping it very vague on why you left, and because she doesn't want to focus too much on that. She wants to keep it focused on Tyler because Tyler is who we're worried about here. And at the end of the day, he had children. He went to custody, pushed you out of the picture to claim custody of this child who he is now publicly not claiming.
Yeah.
You know, and then as far as the twins go, like he took the narrative for Cairo and tried to apply it across the board when the shoe doesn't fit for the twins because you weren't even in the picture for the twins.
Yeah.
So I think that was her stance, right? Like, let's keep it on Tyler in that he's basically a deadbeat who abandoned his children, which that seems to be the truth here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Legally though, Cairo still belongs to you.
No. In the divorce, so I got out the army because I was struggling with depression and things like that. So you can imagine somebody trying to take your child from you, how depressed you're going to be. During this time when she cut all communication with my son, I told you she had raised my daughter from 10 months to 3 years old. She cut all communication with our daughter. So I'm trying to, my daughter is like, where's my mom? You know? And where's my brother that I just had? I'm depressed. I'm trying to fight this battle with the baby, but I'm so depressed I couldn't take care of my own kid. So my mom's having to step in and help me, and I just couldn't do that anymore. And at the end of the day, I just felt like I had to do what's right for my son and my daughter. And although she is abusive, she's never touched our kid. So I knew he was fine. And Tyler is around and things like that. So, hey, you want.
And again, this is the part where I want to stop for just a second because she said, that Bri was in her daughter's life from 10 months to 3 years old. She remembers her. She asks where she is. When it comes to Cairo, she was obviously in Cairo's life from birth. And I just want to take a second to again talk about how gut-wrenching that is. I am not a mother. I don't have children, but I can only imagine what it feels like to know that you had another son. You're on the birth certificate. You have family that's literally like, hey, where's your second kid? I just want us to remember that all of these people at the end of the day are real people, real human beings. Yes, we watch this show for entertainment value, but I really do want to push it really hard that these are people that are all hurting really bad. We're hearing Deshawn's side of the story. Bri, talked about how she's hurting. And again, this is why I want to even put this on my platform as well, because if I put Bri's side of the story, I feel like it's only right to also put Deshawn's side of the story. It is heartbreaking to hear. She said she got out of the army because she was so depressed. And obviously this situation took an extreme toll on her. Imagine thinking you're going to be in a child's life and then all of a sudden you are pushed out randomly by your ex-wife because she wants to bring in this guy. And then I think obviously there's a lot of questions concerning sexuality and identifying certain ways. And I think for Deshawn, that's confusing as well. And I just think this whole situation is something that you can't even fathom, the abuse. So again, I just want all of us to be kind and remember that yes, we watch Love is Blind for entertainment, but especially someone like Deshawn, she didn't sign up to come on the show, right? So it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, out of the picture, I literally could not mentally handle the fight anymore. I cried on the phone, not knowing these are billable hours with my lawyer so many times.
Oh yes. Oh
yeah.
That adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll let you cry too. And then
my lawyer was my best friend, but no. So I did end up reaching out to my lawyer and letting him know that I was going to agree to what she wanted, which was for me to give up my rights to our son. He was against it, but I just could not handle fighting her. And during that time, before she cut communication, she was already it was hard for me to see him. She would only let me see him if he was sick and she couldn't miss any more work or just when it was an inconvenience for her. But any other time, she wouldn't let me see him. I had to beg. And I knew that was going to be our life for the rest of our life. That she was the type of woman that if I was like, okay, I'm coming to Maryland, I'm going to spend the summer with him or something, that she would fly them to Louisiana. That's the type of woman I was dealing with. and I didn't want to put him through that. So I just bowed out. And he looks happy, and I'm okay. I'm happy with that.
So
I regret it, but yeah.
how old was Cairo when you bowed out and then Tyler assumed this father role? Because we heard Bryce say that he asked to be a father,
Right.
like he asked to step up. So how old was Cairo at that point?
I don't know how old Cairo was when we filed. It was so, and again, I tried to like block all this out. So it's, and the timeline is just super murky because I left and then I flew back to Maryland and then I left again and I was going to come back to Maryland. It's just all over the place. She spent time in California. But Cairo was very young.
Is it toddler?
Because
No, not even a toddler.
the twins were, she said Cairo wasn't even one when the twins
Yeah.
were conceived. So it, and you weren't around when the twins were conceived or born. I know that's like a 1 year difference, but like, so it seems like Tyler assumed the role as Cairo's father very
Before the age of 1. Yeah.
very young.
Yeah. I only found out that Tyler was involved in his life because I got his medical records for the divorce. I was trying to show the judge something, and in the notes it said the nurse had wrote that the baby was at the appointment with mom and dad. That's when I knew that he was around. I didn't know what to this extent, but yeah. So probably 10 months or so when she cut off communication and everything ended.
Yeah. So even though Cairo was intended to be a donor situation, Tyler has been playing a father role since 10 months and a father role for the twins. So he's not a donor.
And no. I would say before the 10 months because you saw the newborn pictures.
Right.
So it's like these are your children.
Yeah.
And also too, from Deshaun, what you said too is that they were hunching.
Oh,
they were hunching. They were in a relation. They were in a relationship. They were having.
And I do think that's something very important to point out. Like, you know, anything about pregnancy and how to get pregnant. Yes, there are obviously stories where people literally do it one time, come up pregnant, it happens, you know. But in most cases, you are not getting pregnant just after doing it one time. That is very rare, I would say, or not common necessarily. Even Deshaun mentioned it earlier in the video. You're like fertile for, it's not even 2 weeks. It's literally like 4 or 5 days. It's considered the fertile window. And so you're not getting pregnant after just doing it one time. So could that have been Tyler and Bry's case where, something happened and they slipped up but in reality, they were living together. They were doing it probably pretty frequently for her to come up pregnant. And that alone, I feel like is just such a weird and murky situation. I think Bri, obviously, as I said, has some real issues with her identity. And because of that, she's not really telling the story properly. I am very happy Deshaun came out. And of course, both sides are all alleged. I'm not saying I believe one more than the other. I think Deshaun's story is actually filling in some holes in Bri's story. I think obviously when it comes to couples, they're still, it seems like between them, they don't really have the best relationship. And obviously we know with couples, usually it's, you know, one side, the other side, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle. But I think Deshaun is definitely putting a lot of things into perspective. A lot of the questions y'all were asking in my comments when I posted Bride's side. But I do think it is very important to point out that yes, they were doing it. They were doing it, and they were probably doing it frequently because again, you don't usually get pregnant after doing it one time. And yes, I know somebody's gonna comment and say, "My mom did, I did." Yes, of course it can happen, but it's just typically not that common. So let's keep going.
They were in a relationship. I don't care what the title is, because when I look at Bri's video, she says, you know, it was understood, but we weren't in a relationship. But but we were solid. No, you guys were in a relationship. It doesn't matter what. Yeah, that's something that my therapist taught me, is that just because you don't say boyfriend and girlfriend doesn't mean you're not in a relationship with someone.
Agreed. And that is another big thing as well, because yes, Bri said in her video, you know, we were not dating, but at the end of the day, you are living together, raising 2 kids, having intimate relations, I'm sorry, but that's a relationship. Think about it. For me, right, I date God, not anymore because I'm married. But let's say, like, if I would, when I was dating and a guy came up to me and he said, "Oh, I live with my baby mama and we do it," and, you know, I live with my baby mama and, we're not in a relationship, but oh, she accidentally got pregnant last year, but we still have we're still under the impression that we're dating other people. I'm sorry. I'd be like, excuse me? Y'all two are in a relationship. So I do think it's interesting how Bry was able to claim, oh, we're not in a relationship. We're not in a relationship. When I'm going to keep it a stack, it sounds like y'all are in a relationship.
Y'all were in a relationship. And when you put two and two together and you hear your side, which is this man was actively participating with her to, or conspiring with her to,
pregnant with the twins while she was not admitting to cheating on me. Pregnant with the twins while. So that's when she got a charge basically. If it was civilian, she got a charge for adultery in the military because she got pregnant with the twins while she was married to me, and they knew that we were going through a divorce. So I don't know if she could still get in trouble for that, but that could be a reason why she's not admitting to cheating on me.
Makes sense.
Right. That makes sense.
And I fast forward a little too much, but she had said that she's still in the military, Bree. However, she had gotten a charge for adultery because she was pregnant with the twins while still being legally married to Deshaun.
I did not know that.
Me neither.
I did not know that about the Army.
Oh, yes. The military, very, very strict. Very, very strict. I haven't been in the military, but I know people very, very strict about adultery and things as such. You definitely cannot be doing things like that and be in the military. So, yeah.
It's a comment that's saying, yes, the Army is very strict. It's a very strict. They put family first in the Army.
They do, but not in all situations, because when I called them and let them know, I found the article, the law that says that she, as a service member, has to let me see my legal or biological child, and her first sergeant said that does not apply to you because you guys are same sex. So, which is not true, but it's up to his discretion.
Wow. It doesn't apply to them because they are same sex. And remember, the military, they had all these rules. Don't ask, don't tell, all different kinds of things. That's heartbreaking. That's very heartbreaking to hear that though she is legally on the birth certificate for Cairo, because they are same sex, the military said no to their own rule. Ooh, okay. Jeez.
Now, what the hell is going on in the Army?
Right.
Right. So, I mean, is there anything else? Did we miss anything? Is there any other just basic information that you feel people should know when it comes to this entire situation? I feel like we've put so many things already in perspective for us, but is there anything that we're forgetting to add? Or is there anything that you would like to add?
I mean, I think my whole thing when I saw him on TV was just like, I want to make sure people know who he really is. So I hope that everybody is grown. I've grown since this situation, and I'm not sitting here saying that I'm just a victim. I told Rikkii, I hate that I participated in hurting his ex-fiance. She was a great person, and I'm sure she still is. So I'm not to blame for anything. But I'm honest. So he was engaged. He was already cheating on her. He definitely had sex with my wife. He definitely petitioned to get me out of my child's life. And now he's not taking care of them. And that's really all I care about, is everybody knowing that.
Rikkii, do you have anything you want to add?
I feel like thank you for joining us and filling in the holes to this story. Like I said, there's so many layers to this story that, the only people that know the full truth are Bree and Tyler at this point. So it's like, thank you for being so vulnerable and trusting us and trusting me to share your story. And we just really appreciate having you here with us. Like you've definitely been super insightful and like helping us fill in the pieces to this puzzle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I think Ricky will agree with me when I say like we are so sorry about your experience, Kai, and that you guys are able to one day reunite.
Thank you.
Okay. Whew. Okay. Let's come back. So I think her story does fill in a lot of parts of Bryce's story. As I already said, there were parts of Bryce's story that were intentionally left misleading. You know, how was the first son conceived? And obviously, not even Deshawn fully knows, obviously. And I felt what she meant here when she said, you know, when your partner's cheating on you. You know, as someone who's been cheated on in a relationship, I instantly knew. Before I even had solid evidence, I just something was wrong. And of course, I was right. So I do believe her when she says she knows that Bry cheated on her. Um, it is heartbreaking to hear that essentially she was pushed out of Cairo's life because it was easier to do that than go through the pain with Bry of the games and the manipulation. And I think it is interesting to talk about because there are a lot of parents that use their kid as a weapon against their ex, you know, against the other parent. They use the kid as a weapon. They use the kid as a bartering tool. You know, they hold the kid against you to try to get one up on you. People, and I do think it's interesting because they also talked about why did Tyler do this? Why did Tyler want to so desperately be a father just to leave? And the reality is because a lot of people like to win. I would guess 1,000% that Tyler wanted to be a father because he wanted to win. He was like, those are my kids. I want to win. I'm going to be their daddy. Knowing dang well that he was not actually going to be in those kids' lives. I think it is an awful, awful situation. I think that, you know, as they said, I do hope there is a day that they can all that Cairo and Deshawn can reunite because that is such a sad story. A sad story. And I do like the perspective that it seems like Bry again, and we all noticed it. You guys noticed it, I noticed it, that things were seemingly left kind of vague because she wants to put the blame right on Tyler, but not really admit her part in pushing out Cairo's mother, who is Deshawn. And oh my gosh, whoa. Ooh, all right, y'all. But I think I'm gonna end it here because this is a pretty long video. So thank you guys so much for watching. You know, if you got to this point in the video, that means you like the video. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Supports the content. Go watch Jessie Woo. Go watch Storytime with Rikkii as well. They, again, this is their journalistic work. They did a great job. Uh, really great for them to get Deshawn to speak out. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.